Hey guys, we're here at the shop again. Gonna take another look at the worm bin. It's getting close to harvest time. I might even harvest it today. We'll see. I'll show you what I'm dealing with. If you remember in the video before, I've got two bins. One of them is the feeding bin, and the other is the finished compost bin. And we got the two bins here, the feeding bin and the compost bin. The feeding bin's doing real well. I just added some food today. I added some cucumber, and it's looking well. I decided a couple weeks ago that I just wasn't feeding the worms enough. I watched some other videos, and it just seemed like everybody else was feeding their worms way more than me, and their worms were getting bigger, and it seemed like their worms were healthier. And so I stepped up the feeding on mine, and I'm feeding them about twice as much as I used to, and the worms are definitely looking better. Not that they're gonna let me show you, but they are getting bigger. They're all down eating right now, I guess. Where'd they go? How come I can't see them on here? Oh, there they are. They seem like they're getting bigger. They're just red wigglers, so they're a pretty small worm to begin with. But it sure seems like everybody else's red wigglers are doing a little better than mine. So I stepped up the feeding, and I'm feeding them quite a bit more now than what I ever have. And when it's gone, I still wait a day or two once the food's gone before I add any more food. Gives them a little chance to work through the bedding. It was about a week ago. I added a full shredder bin, and I call that about a gallon of shredded paper about a week ago. Now in my last video, I showed that my bin was my feeding bin was about 3 inches deep. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now it's pretty deep. I would say it's about 7 inches deep. And so we've added a lot more compost to this bin since the last video, which was about a month ago now. And so that's how the feeding bin's doing. They're chowing down on some cucumber today. Up here is the compost bin, and I've got it all kind of moved to one side of the bin right now because I've been letting it dry out and trying to get any worms that's left in there to agree to move over. And I put this here. It's just some wet paper towels and maybe a couple cucumber bits into all that dry. Sorry, my camera work is just horrible. So I put this wet paper towel into the dry castings, hoping that any worms that are in there will go to the moisture, and then I can pull them out of there. I just dumped it this morning, put it back in there. There doesn't seem to be any worms in there yet, so I'm thinking that pretty much most of the worms are going to be out of this bin. It's going to be a little moist right around where I had that paper towel thing. So there might be some around in that area, but I'm not seeing any. It's all finished compost, whatever that is. What's that? I think it's a piece of a cucumber or something. Just like the inner skin or something of a cucumber. So I'm not finding a single worm. Little bits of this coffee filter that I put in here by mistake, about 7 of them once. So the coffee that we use are the little K-cups, and so when we're done I open them up and get the coffee out of them and put it in the worm bin. Well, there's a little coffee filter in there that I was ripping out and throwing into the bin. Well, a couple weeks later, digging through the bin, I would find bits and pieces of the coffee filter. They could eat some of it, but not all of it. And so I was finding lots of these fibery pieces from the coffee filters, and so I think I pretty much got all of them dug out of there. But so no more K-cup coffee filters in the bin for me. But the compost is looking really good. One thing to be aware of my compost, especially on this batch. The next batch isn't going to be so bad, but I use, especially on this bin, I used a lot of sand. Focus. And so the worms can only eat, as I mentioned in the other video, the smallest bits of the sand, and so the bigger bits of sand remain in the mix, which is great for a garden mix. The sand will be just fine for a garden mix. So this one I will use in my own garden. It's got a nice texture to it. It's going to be great castings for my garden, but I couldn't sell it as worm castings, as 100% worm castings, because although it's 95% worm castings, it's still got visible sand in it, and it wouldn't be fair to sell it as 100% worm castings whenever it's not. So here's a little piece of one of those filters. They eat all the paper product but leave just this little fibery stuff, and it's got to come out of the bin because the worms won't. Well, there's no worms in here anymore. It wouldn't have to come out of this one since this is going to be used in my own garden. But so that's the job for today, is to harvest all this. Since we know there's no worms in it, it's going to be pretty easy to harvest. I thought I seen one wiggling just now, right here. The only thing for the last week that's been in here are just teeny tiny babies, but I'll still take them out if I see them. But I don't see any anymore. I think the last 2 days of letting it dry out and getting the worms out in the bucket, in the little basket thing that I made, this little bait cup, I guess what you would call it. I baited them all out of there with the moisture. So it's pretty well empty of worms. And I put all the worms down into the feed one. Now once I get this empty, I'm going to dump that over into that one, start a new bin, and this one, because all that will be dumped into this one, because that'll be empty. And so then when that one's empty again, I'll shred up some paper, start a new bin in this one, and leave it separate, leave it sit down here for a week to let the decomposition start and let the bacteria build up and everything. Then I'll just set it on top of there, and it's got holes in the bottom, so as the worms want to, they'll come up out of the compost in there to come up to the new stuff and start composting it. And then in about a month or so, most all the worms will be out. Maybe 3/4 of them will be in the new bin. And then we'll start the process of emptying the new castings and start all over. So I'm just going to harvest these castings, and that'll be that. See you next time.